I'm Lucie Fink, and this is 5 Days of Ayurveda. Hey YouTube, welcome back to another 5-day challenge. If you're new to Refinery's YouTube channel, click on the little subscribe button in the corner. And now we are about to go on a journey. My yoga teacher once mentioned Ayurveda in class a few months ago, and I really wanted to learn more about it. So over this summer when I was in LA, I picked up a book at a yoga shop. And it was this book right here called The Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda. And little did I know, and this is one of those instances where I think the universe sometimes just works in mysterious ways, but the author of this book, Sahara Rose, is actually the same person whose podcast I've been listening to for the past few months. Some might call that a coincidence, but I say the universe really wants me to connect with and learn from this girl.
Yoga is a spiritual practice. The word yoga means to yoke, to become one with universal consciousness, Brahma. Whereas Ayurveda is the predecessor, and it says, okay, how are you going to become enlightened when your digestive system is hurting and your back hurts and you're anxious and you have all of these issues in the body and the mind? So yoga is really a spiritual practice, and Ayurveda is a practice of the body and mind.
Okay, starting with the basics for people out there who have never even heard the word Ayurveda before, let me break it down for you. Ayur is the Sanskrit word for life, and Veda means science or knowledge. So the word Ayurveda literally means the science of life. And that's exactly what Ayurveda is. It's a 5,000-year-old medical system from ancient India that explores the science of healing and the longevity of life. You might be sitting there thinking this topic sounds kind of mystical, maybe a little bit nebulous, and trust me, when I first brought this up with my family a few months ago, they thought I was talking about horoscopes or astrology or something like that. But Ayurveda is not magic, it's not mysticism, it's a science, and it's actually very interesting. Ayurveda is the sister science of yoga. So while the real purpose of doing yoga is to achieve spiritual enlightenment, the purpose of practicing Ayurveda is to achieve health. And the idea is that unless you have your health in order, there's no chance you're going to be able to get to that state of experiencing spiritual enlightenment. So let's dive into it. According to Ayurveda, there are 5 natural elements found on Earth: fire, water, earth, air, and ether or space. These elements come together inside of our bodies in unique combinations that form the 3 doshas, or 3 different types of energies: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. I'll let Sahara explain it a little further.
People who are high in Vata, they have airy personalities. They are creative, eccentric, they think outside the box. But sometimes that air can turn into a tornado and they may get anxious or have trouble sleeping. In the body, if you have a lot of air in your stomach, you feel bloated, gassy, constipated. You may have cold hands, cold feet, dry skin. Pitta is the fiery dosha. People who have fiery personalities, they are goal-oriented, ambitious, hardworking, structured, organized, routine. But when someone cramps their style, they get angry and frustrated and irritated. When people aren't moving as fast as them, they literally can't deal. Your stomach is called an Agni, which is your internal fire. So if you have too much fire, it's going to start moving up and you experience heartburn. So you feel acidic, you may have acne because that's heat trying to leave your body, rashes, rosacea, really sensitive skin. If you have Kapha in the mind, you are an earth mama. You are grounded, you are calm, you are connected to the natural cycles. You give, and you have that motherly energy. But oftentimes you put other people in front of yourself. Over time, that can make you feel resentful and stuck in the past and unable to make change. And in the body, it's going to reflect that. So you feel heavy, lethargic, stuck. Weight gain, especially in the lower body, the hips and thighs.
So we all have a little bit of each dosha in us, but it's helpful to understand which dosha is our dominant dosha. And if you can't already tell what your dominant dosha is based on the descriptions, there's a 15-question quiz on Sahara's website, eatfeelfresh.com. I've taken this quiz many times, and my results show that I'm primarily a Vata with a little bit of Pitta and even less Kapha energy inside of me. And I truly do exhibit most of the characteristics of a classic Vata person. But I do need to make sure to add some of that Kapha grounding earth energy into my life, because otherwise I can become too Vata, I can become restless, and my hands and feet are always freezing. So step 1 for you before you go any further into exploring Ayurveda, take the quiz and find out what your dosha is. Ayurveda does not see the day as a 24-hour period with 12 hours in the morning and 12 hours in the evening. Instead, it divides the 24-hour day into 6 4-hour time chunks. And each of these 4-hour time blocks corresponds to one of the doshas.
You're able to figure out exactly what you should be doing and what you're supposed to be eating according to what dosha it is at that time of day.
So I spent Tuesday living out a full day according to the Ayurvedic clock. First and foremost, Ayurveda recommends waking up at 6 a.m. and rising as the sun is rising. And this first chunk from 6 to 10 a.m. is Kapha time. As we learned about the Kapha dosha, it's very grounded and peaceful, and that's exactly what this time of day should feel like. Start your day slowly, meditate, eat a very nourishing meal. It's all about self-care. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're now entering Pitta time. Now remember, Pitta is all about fire and energy, so this is the time of day when you're supposed to get your most difficult tasks done. This time of day is also when the sun is the highest in the sky, which according to Ayurveda means our digestive systems are the most powerful. So apparently lunch should be your biggest meal of the day. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is Vata time. This is my time to shine. Our nervous systems are the most active in this time zone, so this is when we should really be tapping into our creativity. Writing, drawing, painting, designing, you name it. 6 to 10 p.m. we're back in another Kapha time zone. Now remember, 6 to 10 a.m. was also Kapha, and that was all about slowly winding up for the day. 6 to 10 p.m. is actually about winding down for the night. So after eating dinner on the early side, it's time for us to start powering down, turn off our technology, do a face mask, practice all the self-care in the world, and get your body ready to sleep. So yes, according to Ayurveda, you should be asleep by 10 p.m., but if you're anything like me and you're a bit of a night owl, sometimes you can stay up past what I like to call my tired window. And when I get past that window, it's like I get the second burst of energy. And that's because from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., you're entering Pitta time. And just like that first Pitta time zone from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., this is another burst of energy and alertness. Think about the late nights you might have spent finishing up a paper or an assignment for school. It's also no coincidence that clubs and bars are often open from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. because it's right in that Pitta time zone when people are really energetic and want to go out. And then at 2 a.m. we enter another Vata time zone. So just like the first Vata time zone, this is a very powerful creative time. Most people are actually asleep from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., which makes sense because when we're sleeping, our brains are dreaming and we're actually in a very creative state. But if you happen to be awake, think of the artist that stays up from 2 to 6 a.m. and is splashing paint on the canvas, or the yogis that wake up super early to meditate in this time zone. That's because 2 to 6 a.m. is a creative time when we're really tapped in to our imagination and our spiritual sides. Of course, we all have different lives, we're all on different schedules. No one's gonna be able to follow the Ayurvedic clock perfectly. But if you at least try to incorporate some of these philosophies into your everyday life, you might see a major improvement in the quality of your sleep, your digestive system, and also your overall energy levels. Food and digestion are two major pieces of the Ayurvedic puzzle, and there are certain types of foods that you're told either to eat or to avoid based on your dosha to make sure that your dosha remains balanced. For example, when my Vata is out of balance and I'm feeling especially cold or I'm experiencing insomnia, I found some Vata pacifying recipes to help ground me. And I actually made one of these recipes on Wednesday, a homemade butternut squash soup. A major cornerstone of Ayurveda is the idea that food is medicine. So instead of eating whatever you want now and then taking medicine later to fix diseases, Ayurveda sees the food on your plate every day as your daily prescription. Ayurveda looks at your digestive system as a fire that's burning inside of you. And you want to keep this fire burning brightly because when it's like that, your digestive system is working properly. But when that digestive fire is either too weak or too strong, it can manifest in various ways throughout the body. And yes, this is physically a reference to hot and cold foods. So warmer cooked foods can heat up that digestive fire, whereas cold and raw foods weaken or can literally put out your digestive fire. Vatas like me tend to have irregular digestion, so Ayurveda wants them to eat warming cooked foods to heat up that digestive fire. Pittas have sharp and fiery digestion, so they should favor cooling and cleansing ingredients. And Kaphas often have dull digestive fires, so they should enjoy vibrant and well-spiced meals.
You can eat tridoshically, which means it balances all three doshas. I lived with Ayurvedic doctors for 2 years in India, and we all ate the same food regardless of what our dosha is. You just have to take out the foods that will imbalance a certain dosha. I say focus on the tastes. Make sure you're eating the 6 tastes of Ayurveda: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, and astringent.
Thursday for me was all about exploring some classic Ayurvedic rituals and also following a schedule that Sahara suggested. I woke up at 6 a.m. I sat right here in my bed and I stretched gently while I gave myself some time to just think about my dreams, think about what I'm grateful for. Then I went into the bathroom, I splashed my face with water, I brushed my teeth, and I tried the Ayurvedic practice of tongue scraping. According to Ayurveda, the white coating that you see on your tongue in the morning is toxicity that has built up there overnight. In a Refinery29 article, a dentist shares that the bacteria on your tongue can cause plaque buildup, resulting in tooth decay and gum disease.
The amazing thing is you're able to see what dosha is out of balance from looking at your tongue. So if you're noticing you have some cracks on your tongue, that's a vata imbalance. If you're noticing you have a red tip on your tongue, that's a pitta imbalance. If you're noticing your tongue is really coated in white, that's a kapha imbalance.
After scraping my tongue, I did some oil pulling, which is something I myself have done a bunch in the past year. Oil pulling is basically Ayurvedic mouthwash, and while I typically use coconut oil, which is very cooling and great for pittas, I switched over to sesame oil this time, which is warming and great for vatas. While swishing the oil in my mouth, I boiled some water for a hot tea, and then I made myself a loaded avocado toast breakfast. I spent the day relaxing and reading, and then at night I practiced some Ayurvedic nightly rituals. I turned off my phone nice and early, I lit some candles so that I could turn my actual lights down, and then I dry brushed my skin. And lastly, I tried a self-oil massage practice called Abhyanga. I used sesame oil again since it's warming and great for vatas. I heated it up over the stove and then once again between my hands before I rubbed it into my skin using long strokes towards my heart. When I was first learning about Ayurveda and its various practices and rituals, I realized that I myself have been practicing Ayurveda in various forms for years now, such as using a neti pot, meditating, drinking ginger tea, or practicing breathing exercises. You might see that you too have been practicing Ayurveda all along. I've now given you a ton of information, but there's one more system that I want to touch on before wrapping this up, the chakra system. These are 7 energy centers throughout our bodies that, according to ancient Ayurvedic wisdom, are each associated with a different function. Your root chakra at the base of your spine is in charge of security and stability. Your sacral chakra just below your navel is your source of creativity and sensuality. The solar plexus holds your sense of self. It's your identity and your personality. The heart chakra is all about love and the ability to give it and receive it. The throat chakra is your voice box and allows you to communicate your message. Your third eye is related to intuition. And lastly, your crown chakra is in charge of learning and connecting to the universe on a higher level. If any of these energy centers are blocked up, you might be feeling some physical manifestations of that. For example, you might feel cut off from your emotions if your sacral chakra is out of balance. Or you could feel low self-esteem if your solar plexus is depleted. And you can do certain things to help rebalance these chakras, such as reciting mantras to rebalance your throat chakra, or spending more time outdoors to rebalance your root chakra. There are tons of books out there about the chakras, and if you feel called to do so, I highly recommend you pick one up and read further. I know this episode was jam-packed, but for me, it was a week filled with some of the happiest and most relaxing activities in the whole world. And now that I've successfully practiced Ayurveda for 5 days, on Friday, I got back into the yoga studio and started flowing again. This video just scratches the surface of Ayurveda, and I'm gonna be honest, I read this entire book cover to cover, so I know there is so much deeper we can go here, and if you're interested in learning more, I highly recommend you pick up Sahara's book, The Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda. Thanks so much for watching, and comment below to let me know what you want to see me explore next time. Bye guys! Hey YouTube, thanks for watching 5 days of Ayurveda. Click here for another 5-day challenge, here to subscribe to R29 on YouTube, and right here for my personal YouTube channel. See ya!